Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, it's Christmas time. Shout out to intern Will for decorating today. And you brought this up right before we came on, the last show of 2024.
Hard to believe, another year in the books, the last show of 2024. It's been a great one, and the time just flies when you're having fun.
It does.
And you're right, man. Intern Will brought his A game on the decorations. It's very festive. He's really brought a lot of enthusiasm and just bringing the show along into 2024. We just keep evolving.
Well, listen, we kid because we care.
Correct.
We got former intern Lance out there. I know you're watching, Lance. We love Lance, still very involved.
Never saw this, Lance.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The lights, the graphics were good. Check on the graphics. But intern Will, check on the graphics. Shout out for the clown show last week.
The graphics or the, what would you call that? The addition that he put, the clown face over your face. Well done. Job well done.
So I would say, to be fair to former intern Lance and current intern Will, who might lose that moniker. Is that the correct word, moniker?
Yes.
He might lose that
quicker than ever.
He could.
Well, we like to give.
But Lance paved the way. He paved the way.
He paved the way, and he was a trailblazer. But
Trailblazer.
Again, we never saw anything like this, and so we like to give the viewers sometimes a little inside look to off air. So let's just be honest. What your original thought was, there was discussion of making intern Lance the clown of the week.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't quite bring ourselves to do it, but it was close.
We
love you.
It was really just to add content, though.
It's like in coaching. I always heard, hey, you might be feeling sorry for yourself, and coach has been on you. He's been getting on you a lot lately. And Coach Tom Five-Ash told me that one time. He said, let me tell you something. He said, when a coach is getting on you, that's not what you need to worry about. When he quits getting on you, that's when you probably need to worry about.
That's the message for.
That's right.
For Lance.
If we don't kid, then
that's right.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Plus, it's coming from us. Take it with a grain of salt.
That's right.
Hey, Tate, let's do this. Let's jump into some sports here.
Can't wait.
Basketball, 2 district games in. Now, to let the viewers kind of know what happened, had a game last week. This week is finals week. Kind of a sacred week in Williamson County.
We take finals seriously.
We do, but here. Because the district
and should
we should. I'm not anti-school. Last year, we had some problems with the weather, and because we're in an 8-team district, we had 2 or 3 weeks with like 4 games in it. So this year we got it approved that during finals week, on the second game of district play, we started early in the day. Girls started like 4:30, boys after, so we're allowed to practice. So we made that work since the games are in county. Worked out nicely. Now, Tate, as you look at our district standings, the thing that stands out is we have 3 teams on both sides, 2-0, and they happen to be the same schools.
Pretty strong. Brentwood, Nolensville.
Which we thought Brentwood would. I think we both thought they'd be 2-0.
In girls and boys?
No, yes.
Yeah.
Although Centennial Brentwood, we thought boys was toss-up.
Right, and you're going to get to it, but the score was not so much the Brentwood won, but the amount. I don't know about you. I was like, wow. Brentwood played lights out. But yeah, Brentwood 2-0, boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Nolensville 2-0, boys and girls, and Page 2-0, boys and girls. So pretty strong.
So let's go back to Media Day. We both said we felt like on the girls' side it was Brentwood, Nolensville, Page, sort of everybody else. You threw in Franklin, good call. Cecily Brandamore, we'll talk about her in here in just a minute, but anytime you have her, you got a shot.
That's right.
And then on the boys' side, we both kind of had let's don't call it an argument. We don't really argue, a debate, and we even had it last week. I was kind of talking some trash.
Correct.
About Franklin Indy. Well, neither one of them are 2-0.
That's right.
And by the way, Nolensville defeated both teams. How about that for Coach Gadice and his squad?
Boy, that's really a strong way to start out the season.
Yes.
Getting a win over one of them, but getting a win over both of them, yeah, that's strong. And I don't think it had any. If you look at Ravenwood right now, Ravenwood didn't get their full team until a week ago.
Right.
So that's not really the case with Franklin and Independence, right? So those are two really quality wins, and it's looking early like maybe we didn't give Nolensville enough conversation for being one of the favorites at the top of the league.
I do think we mentioned on the boys' side that it was so deep that who knows. So going through the girls, so those 3 2-0, you got Franklin and Indy both 1-1, Centennial, Ravenwood, Summit 0-2. And by the way, I hate to bring this up, that's what it is on the girls' side too, or boys' side. It's like identical.
Right.
0-2, 0-2, 0-2, and then Franklin and Indy both 1-1 on both sides. I don't know. It almost seems impossible that could happen.
Right.
It's the exact same with all.
Won't stay that way.
No, it won't stay that way. So let's talk about a couple of games. We got a lot of games we could talk about, but just a couple that stand out.
Okay.
Nolensville, Franklin. Let's talk about that on the girls' side. 50-45 at Franklin. I love Coach Ladd and his squad. Pretty balanced scoring that night. 14 points from Nyla Johnson to lead off scorers. I think they only had a second young lady with double digits. And then Franklin had like 3 people score. But one of them, how about those stats from Cecily Brandon Tate?
Well, she had 37 points. So 45 minus 37, she scored all but 8.
Hey, scouting report update. Everybody, you play Franklin, guard Cecily.
Yeah. Scouting report. Probably ought to put a body on her. 37 point or bodies on her. 37 points, 13 rebounds in a 5-point loss to 2-0 Nolensville. Her 7th straight double-double, which I think we did and we have been already this year. That's just her name, Miss Double-Double. 4 games now with over 30 points. That's strong. Real strong. Now we got to get her some more help.
She needs some help. Ladies, you need help her. You can't have 3 people scoring.
That's like Tim Duncan type stuff right there.
It's impressive. She has a schoolmate, Christian Brown, who's been putting up some gaudy numbers like that too. It's interesting how these teams, we talk about them having the same records. A lot of these teams sort of mirror one another in terms of how they play, style of play. Girls' side also, we'll get to this in just a little bit, Paige playing really well too. Let's talk about a couple of boys' scores here. I want to start with this one. Summit, who I think has really improved. We all talk about that.
You've been saying that.
Coach Burgess does a good job coming up with a defensive plan. They played Summit, and it's one of those nights because Brentwood shoots so many threes. 92-45, Brentwood hit 23 threes, 15 in the first half, and junior Jackson McCutcheon hit 11, and he finished with 35 points. So he hit 11 threes and then 2 other points.
That's crazy.
Coach Crane, they are letting them fly.
Were they? Do you know? Were they free throws?
I don't know.
I'd love to know that.
I don't know that.
We need to find out. I'm betting they were.
Well, they weren't late like they were fouling to stay in the game because dang, I mean that's a beatdown of a pretty darn good team.
Yes,
but do we need to? Refer to?
No,
we don't do that.
In case you're wondering, is 92-45 score-wise? Does that qualify as a boat race? Yes, but see the rules, see the guidelines, the bylaws. Number 1,
no WILLCO on WILLCO crime.
That's right, and all boat races are final. Do not at me. And the bylaws are final. We would have to vote to have this changed. So, again, if you need a copy, jeremy.qualls@wcs.edu. So, no, there is no WILLCO on WILLCO crime in basketball either.
No.
But that score, had that been, say, Hunter's Lane instead of Summit, yes, that would have been a boat race. We'd be Coach Crane with the boat captain on. I'm really excited, man. Coach Crane is hard to believe it's his first. He's been a head football coach before,
right?
But his first head coach job in basketball, and I'm just really excited for him, man. I think he's excited. He loves being at Brentwood, and
he does.
I think sometimes if you don't know, you think maybe being a former football guy, he might be kind of, dude, they're wide open shooting.
Okay, I want to know what that meant because you said kind of, What did that mean?
Well, I think that people could think maybe since he's an ex-football guy that they're going to be slow and, kind of defense, which they're big on defense, right? But it's a little bit different.
You wouldn't think it. He's running the spread offense of football.
He's running shotgun, no backs, 5 wide, flinging it air raid, right? So
he's Jack Daniels with Billy Whittemore.
Dang right he is.
That's what he is.
And that turned out pretty good for them back then.
It turned out great.
So that being said, I'm really excited about this Brentwood team. They're young, but they're fun. Have you been able to see them play yet?
I have not, but I will soon.
Have you heard? He and Coach Bond were together forever, but Coach Bond was the defensive guy, right? I mean, he was the head coach, but he really kind of ran the defense, correct?
Yeah, but Coach Crane was the offensive coordinator, so to speak.
Right, I know. And so do you know? Because you got to be your own guy. Obviously, he's going to do a lot of what they've been doing, but I wonder if the defense looks any different.
It's going to look different because they're playing so fast offensively. But it's a personnel thing. I give him credit. At that last year, they felt like it needed to be a little bit slower, kind of manage the game a little more. This year, that sophomore class in particular, they have a lot of guys who can just say a sophomore. McCutcheon's a junior. He had 11.
Right.
But they've got a lot of guys who can shoot the ball, so I give him credit of switching it up, so to speak, in terms of the way they play offense. I do want to mention this, too. I think it's a great time to interject this week's gym. Okay, 23 threes. Get this. Now check this out. That tied for third in state history. White County, 31.
Was that Jolly?
No, it wasn't. It was the coach, the guy that used to be at Pickett County. Can't believe it's escaping me. I'll think of it like in 5 minutes. It's blurted out. They hit 31 in 2016. But no, Jolly was long gone. And Booker T. Washington hit 25 in 2000.
Would you say it's safe to say it's basketball in the state of Tennessee is just better when Booker T. Washington's good? I'd like to see them. I know this is a WILLCO show, but I'd like to see them get good again in the state tournament.
Can I be honest?
You could care less.
I don't care anything about Booker T. Washington.
I like them. I like them. I like the way they would come in the gym and kind of take it over. But that, I was thinking about Jackson. What was my man's name that when y'all were your state tournament team, when y'all were rolling and Reese was doing his deal and he literally only shot from the corner?
Jordan Bruce.
Jordan Bruce. I feel like there were some games where Jordan Bruce would have 30 points, 10 for 11 threes or something like that. And he never shot a 2-point shot. There were games where he had big scoring outputs and never shot a 2-point shot, correct?
Not only did he have games he never did it. I'm going to sound like I'm making this up. He was a 2-year starter. In his 2-year starting career, he made 2 twos. But let me tell you, he made a ton of threes. He hit 10 in a game.
10, I remember it.
McCutcheon hits 11.
Stroking it. That's awesome. So that's a really good gym, by the way. I don't know where you went for that, but that was some digging. That was some investigative reporting.
I've got my places. I like what Brentwood's doing because I've talked to some people that watched them play. Talked to people that watched them play this summer. Unless the summer, you're just trying to figure things out, but they had a game this summer, and those games are fast. They hit over 20. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
If we're playing buying or selling, you're buying right now.
Yes. Well, here's the thing, too, and I know I've mentioned this before on the show. I've always thought that defensively, you got to be able to stop people in the postseason, and I still believe that. But I go back to what my man, the Wolfman, said, John Weil, when I was at Franklin. We both had good teams at the time. He had a team that won the district tournament. They had a little bit harder time putting the ball in the basket. And he told me, he said, if I think about the teams that I had that really went deep and won state titles and did those kind of things, they could score. The name of the game, as my man Mr. Cardwell used to tell me, it's called basketball, which means you got to put the ball in the basket. So when you can shoot like this, people talk about, well, there'll be nights they won't shoot it that well. If you've got the ability to hit 23 in a game, there aren't going to be many nights you don't hit 10. Right. So It's interesting. Fun way to play, too.
Oh, the kids definitely
They love
better.
if you've got that kind of team. I was fortunate to have a few of those at Franklin and Brentwood and at Beach High, too. If you can play that way, it's a fun way for everybody.
What's the most?
By the way, Coach Crane, if you're interested, I probably have a balloon somewhere that we could get on campus. Maybe you have to cover the logo up and put a B.
Color the other logo. It's the wrong color. Crowd loved it. 23, were there 23 slots on it? Probably 30. Was there 15 and 15?
We had a bunch. We'd go both sides. We had to.
We'll get another balloon. Hey, he likes it, man. Coach Crane would do that. He's into that stuff.
He's fun. He's a lot of fun. So congratulations to them again. And I like what Coach Burgess is doing. I keep saying that.
Yes.
So proud of him too. Again, girls with a couple wins. And Brentwood's boys also had a win over Centennial. Now, Centennial, they're not going to remain there on the boys' side, but 0-2 starting off. Maybe a little surprise, but
Is to me.
they lose to Brentwood and they lose to Page. Page also playing well. So there's still plenty of time for Centennial. They had some guys football-wise that are kind of getting back into the swing of things. I know they had some guys playing the All-Star game, the TACA All-Star game, which you're going to talk about here in just a little bit. So basketball is one after Christmas.
Without a
But
doubt.
there's nothing wrong with being 2-0 before the holidays.
Right.
It makes the turkey, the ham, the prime rib, whatever you like at Christmas go down a little easier.
Just tastes a little bit better. The eggnog.
Hey, I always like with basketball too, the holiday tournaments.
Love them.
Those are fun.
See some matchups you're not going to see normally.
Yeah, those are fun.
I like those too. And there's been some that have just been around forever. But, I guess it was if it's one day, it's a classic, right? Not a tournament, I guess. Independence boys, Coach Wilkins had one.
Sometimes people call them the 2 days a classic. It's more about it's not a bracket.
Gotcha.
You know who you're going to play.
Right.
I think that's really more the definition for most people.
And I think that thing will grow. He's done a good job there. So, yeah. Christmas tournaments are always fun.
Love them.
It's changed a little bit. Dr. Qualls, back when he was the executive producer of the show, would always say there's the preseason, the regular season. This was the preseason, the regular season and then the tournament season. Well, not so preseason when you're playing 2 district games.
2 district games, which is not ideal, but we needed to make sure in case we have any weather. Of course, that means this winter,
There'll be no snow.
The coldest day we'll have will be 37.
Correct.
Nolensville boys, let's talk about them a second. We talked about the girls being 2-0, boys also 2-0. 57-37 win over Independence. That's right after Independence just put the smackdown on Hillsboro. Nolensville holds them to 37 points. Then they get an overtime win, 48-47 at Franklin. So home versus Indy at Franklin. Now, the two things that stand out to me there, Indy scores 37 points. Franklin in overtime scores 47. They play really good defense.
Really good
They're
defense.
aggressive about what they do. And Coach Gadice, I heard him interviewed after the game. Charles and Joe had a broadcast. I listened to part of that game, part of that interview. He couldn't hide his excitement about this team. He loves this team, and they're really good.
Well, he should. And you talked a lot about him last year towards the end of the year about how you thought, they had made great strides and you thought they were going to be a problem this year. I think you talked about it at Media Day too. So, but yeah, I don't know it like you know it, but I do know this. When you're holding Independence to 37 points and Franklin to 47 points, that's coaching.
It's pretty good.
Obviously, you got some good kids out there, but the defense it must be. I bet if you go to practice, defense is a way of life in that program.
See if anyone else holds those two to an average of 42 points.
I don't think there's any chance.
The answer will be they won't.
Correct. Hey, well, and I know you're going to talk about it, but like Christian Brown had an unbelievable performance.
He did. Go ahead and talk about those stats.
Well, here he is. I think if we had a preseason player of the year, he would be it. Don't you? He and
Lewis.
Teasy, Tyler
Lewis.
One of the two, maybe preseason play, but he puts up 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks, and they lose. I think anybody out there that follows basketball, if you see that stat line and that's all you see, you just assume Franklin won. So
what's going to happen with Franklin? We talked about this last week, and we get a lot of season to play. They'll go as the guards improve. They don't have as much experience. Their guards don't like they've had. We talked about Davis Long being gone. As they improve, Franklin will improve, and I think you'll see a big jump because they will improve because they're going to be playing.
Right.
So that'll be a big part of it. So, again, Coach Gadice, shout out to them. A great start, and I can't wait till we really get in the meat of this schedule. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Hey, real quick, last thing on that Nolensville Franklin win. Kyson Barney hit 2 free throws late to secure that win.
16 points, I believe he had.
As a coach, is there anything better? I mean, I know there's a lot of great stuff than a kid in a tight game going up, knocking down 2 free throws.
It's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice. Chris Johnson, 12 points. And listen, it's, people that talk about it, there's some pressure with that too, having to step up. And all the coaches, we always say that, hey, it didn't come down to that, but it's hard to make a young man or young lady feel that way if they don't hit those late. But, yeah, it's exciting. It's interesting, too, that sometimes when people can hit free throws late, if you look at stats, certain people are better at the end than they are during the game. It's interesting how that works sometimes. Page girls and boys, did want to give them their proper shout-out, too. Both 2-0. Girls defeated Ravenwood 71-42. Centennial 65-9. Man, Centennial's going through some growing pains. It's going to be a tough year for them, but they got to keep plugging. On the boys' side, Ravenwood 64-40. Centennial 75-61. I like what Coach Street's doing. Hey, I've said this about this team. You drop me in to coach a team, I'd be pretty happy coaching that Page boys team.
Without a doubt.
I like that squad.
Without a doubt, yeah. And he's doing a good job with it.
He is. He really is.
Like you said, sitting there at 2-0. Centennial girls is going to be tough. The one good thing is their two losses are to Page and Brentwood, right?
Who is it?
Is the other one Brentwood?
Who's lost? Franklin?
Centennial. I think
yes, that's right. That's right.
So at least you got those two.
Of course. Yes. Yes. Yeah, those are
two really good teams.
Those are tough. Yeah, they're two teams that haven't lost.
Correct.
Same thing for the boys' side.
Two teams that I think they can make it to Murfreesboro.
I think so too. I think we've got 3 with a good shot. I do.
No loves the other.
Yes, and with Brandamore, again, with Franklin, you just never know.
That's right.
Better have an answer for her. Hey, let's talk just a little wrestling. Again, kind of the time of year where different things are going on. We love the Al Miller duels. First of all, it's a great tournament. Cleveland High School, which we don't totally love. But Pete Miller, Al Miller being father of Pete, so he goes to that tournament.
Kind of have to go to that one.
You got to go to that. Summit, another good showing. They don't make the final. What they do, they have 4 pools. They go 2-1. They end up losing to a Woodland Cartersville. Not sure where they're out of. I'm kind of guessing Georgia. 36-27. But they defeat Bradley Central and they demolish Knoxville Catholic 69-11. So I love this about Coach Miller. And we've got other wrestling coaches that do it. But believe me when I say it, he doesn't care if they win, lose. He wants competition, and then when it matters, they're ready.
That's right. Because he knows, that's part of why he goes to this tournament. To win a state championship, you're going to have to go through Cleveland, and a lot of years Bradley Central. So you might as well get used to it during the year because you're going to see them. You're going to see them at the end if you're going to get where you want to get.
Now I am going to say
and Knoxville Catholic, I don't even know why they showed up.
Yeah. I am going to say this because I like
stirring the pot.
It's going to be Nolensville this year.
Oh,
you agree with that, right?
They're pretty good,
but I'm not counting. I'm on the Summit Spartans. Not quite like I was on the Fairview train, but
Yes.
But
well, you're not personally guaranteeing.
No, I personally guaranteed that.
I loved it. You called your shot, and it came, and it was right.
It was. Hey, Tate.
That's going to be a dogfight at the end of the year.
It is. It'll be those two. And don't count out Brentwood. Don't count out Page. Don't count out Franklin.
No.
I mean, we've got some squads.
All of them are doing fantastic, and Brentwood has been. But, Page is getting better. They keep getting their numbers up. And right now, they just don't have as many they've got a lot of guys that can go out and win every time they go out. They don't have the numbers, and they don't have those 14 slots.
Right.
They're not as deep as Summit and Nolensville.
You know, you talk about, I was talking with someone about this earlier. You talk about programs that I always think your team kind of is a reflection of the coach. I was thinking about Damon Smith, head coach at Brentwood. They've got kind of his persona.
Oh, without a doubt.
We love Coach Smith.
Oh, yeah.
He's passionate.
And I know the thing you love the most is they hand out the cowboy hats at the GP West.
It's number one.
It's pretty awesome.
It's my number one thing I like.
It's a great move.
It's a great move.
Big time.
It's a great move. I'd like to have one of those hats, but
it's
I got to
almost
wrestle
as great
somebody.
as these Christmas trees.
But not quite as good as that.
Not quite. Can't beat that.
Tate, talk about this. We were both excited about this. Then we knew we had finalists. And I'm going to say this. I was pleasantly surprised we got two. I thought for sure we'd get one, but we end up with two Mr. Football winners.
Unbelievable. Eric Hazard wins 5A. Eric Hazard from Page, and Donovan Starr wins 6A from Ravenwood. It was huge. And it was pretty cool. There were some recruiting signing days, signing day wars that went on. Not everybody was honoring Mr. Starr's commitment and intent to sign with Auburn, and I think it got a little. There was a lot of excitement that went around that. There were a lot of text messages and phone calls going around signing day. Pretty cool, but great for Donovan and well deserved. I think we all felt like Eric Hazard would win 5A.
We did,
but still, I don't. Just go look at the other winners, and then go back and look. And we're getting ready to talk about some who were defensive guys, but it's hard for a defensive guy because here's what happens. The Mr. Football Committee gets together right after the regular season. They take into account, it's like the Monday or the Tuesday after the regular season. They take into no account any of the postseason. So none of that matters. But they get together, and there's guys from East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. And if you're a Middle Tennessee guy, it's kind of up to you to, promote or fight for your Middle Tennessee guys, right? Same with the West Tennessee. But my point being, the East Tennessee guys, West Tennessee guys, I think they did Eric Hazard, but they might not know. This award sometimes can be stat-driven, which is very heavily tilted towards offensive quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, things like that. So to win as a defensive end, I think is even more impressive. And then Donovan, even though he plays wide receiver and would participate in the kicking game with returns, he's primarily a defensive player. So to get two of them defensive players in 5A and 6A, I just think is awesome. And Mr. Hazard, who we're big fans of, did you see his swag at the?
I saw it.
He didn't disappoint. The guy's got some style.
He's got some juice.
He's got some juice.
I'll be following. I'll be following his career for sure.
L's up.
Not that, but I'll follow.
Little Mr. Football history?
Yeah, two-time winner. So in 15, Tyrell Dotson Centennial, Cruz Holt Ravenwood got the kicking award. That's two. We got two that year. Mm-hmm. And then sort of recent history, Destin Wade Summit. Remember, he won in 2021. Tim Kutris played both ways. Nolensville, he wins. And then before that, unless I'm missing something, you got to go back to 1998. Billy the Kid Whittemore from Brentwood High. Of course, he won that riding on the shoulders of Matt Davenport. That's the reason
Correct.
He won it. So
and Jock Wiesner. And,
So, I mean, he was great, but that was part of it.
That's right. They carried him along. They took him along. And he's very appreciative of that.
Of course, the folks at Kansas would say, we think it was him.
Correct. Tyrell Dodson's still playing in the NFL.
Dolphins now.
Yes, number 0, I think. What, right? No. He was wearing 0 with the Seahawks. I can't remember what he's wearing with the Dolphins.
I'm kind of disappointed he's not still with the Bills.
I loved it.
It seemed like he fit.
He did, man.
I don't know what happened there.
He did.
Don't know.
They're giving up a lot of points. They're scoring a lot of points, but they're giving up
Yes,
a lot.
they are. Tate, let's finish up with this because I know you're involved and I want you to give us a recap. We had the TACA football all-star game this past weekend. Talk about that a little bit before we wrap it up.
Well, the TACA, we talked a little bit about it, but we're always very well represented in it. The Tennessee Athletic Coaches Association East-West All-Star Game at Austin Peay. I believe it was the 17th. This was pretty cool. It was the 17th.
I can't believe it's already 17.
I know. Edition. You know what the record going into this year was?
8-8?
8-8. I mean, that's kind of hard to do. That's kind of like the standings we just saw, but very well represented. It's, this is not an easy state because where we are, it's not easy to decide who's East and who's West. We always have players on the East and coaches on the East and coaches on the and players and coaches on the West. But Isaac Bond of Centennial, Eli Whitson of Page, Jaden Smitherman and Roman Jones of Ravenwood, Lucas Young, Coach Hall of Famer Coach Bruce Hatfield, who's now with the TACA on the radio Saturday, and he mentioned, now he's over all of it, the game, and he mentioned Lucas Young and Makai Bell of Summit, Lucas Young of Franklin. He mentioned both of them by name of two guys that just watching practice really stood out to him, which that's awesome, man. There's a lot of opportunities that come out of there. There were a few offers that had not happened yet that came out of that, and he expected that there would maybe be 20 more. Makai's already committed, but maybe a guy like Lucas Young, if he wants to go on and play in college, this was a great week for him to compete against other seniors, and he did. Like I said, Coach Hatfield knows football, and he mentioned he was somebody that jumped out to him.
He knows football.
And the other thing I love about it is our coaches. Coach Jamal Stewart was there on the West, and then on the East, Chris Hughes and Coach Scott Stidham were a part of Coach Charles Rathbone's staff.
That's fun.
Yeah, and they'll tell you it's a lot of time away from the families, but the fellowship that the young men have is the main reason why they do it, but also the fellowship that the coaches have. And I know we've been beating this drum, so I'm gonna beat it one more time. Charles Rathbone, Friday night they get done, long season. What does he do? He goes home. He's got Saturday and Sunday off. Monday he goes to Clarksville to give his time to coach the All-Stars, be the head coach of the East. The West won. I think it came down to 37-30, but it was a great day. They moved it to Saturday this year at 1 o'clock, so the sun was out. That made it a lot more enjoyable. But yeah, WCS is always and will always be very well represented in the TACA All-Star Game.
We appreciate the three stripes being represented there too. Always looking good. Tate,
Looking real good.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and the family, and to all of our partners that watch the show every week. We appreciate it.
We do.
Pick'ems, I miss Pick'ems because we got to find another way to get the X back in. But maybe that's our homework assignment over the break.
We need to do that, and for all you guys that are big time viewers of the show, you can go to the archives. You may have a favorite.
Without a doubt. I mean, they never disappoint.
They really don't. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
You can see the evolution of of my hair. I've been on this thing so long that there's
You've been on here a while.
there's evidence that I used to have hair on my head, not on my face. So. We're the Simpsons, right? Of WCTV.
We are. Longest running.
We're renewed for 2020. We'll be back in 2025, right?
Now, I may get corrected. Maybe we're not the longest running, but we're going to go with it.
I think we are, but maybe not. Are we back for 2025? Have you negotiated that?
We've signed.
Let's go, baby.
Tate, have a great holiday.
You too, my friend.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.